Hi there, it's me, Char5. Let's do this. Okay, this question is from Lucky the Cat 101. What inspired you to change your character from a hedgehog to a moonhog? Well, back in 2008, Naum the Moonhog was a hedgehog. He was Naum the Hedgehog. You can actually see that in the credits of the first LuNaTiCoS shorts. What induced me actually to change my character to a Moonhog was the fact that I wanted my character to be more original. I mean, he already had the Sonic base, but barely anything about him is Sonic-y, I guess. I mean, well, yeah, there's the powers and there's the physical form, but his storyline and items that he uses, his forms and everything, that's totally original in my own opinion, I guess. Actually, a lot of people say that characters go through a lot of changes throughout their character concept, and it's true. I mean, you never actually get what you're looking for. I mean, I guess you could say that now the Moonhog's first character design was actually pretty exaggerated in question of details. You know, like for example, the sneakers that now the Moonhog wears are inspired on my favorite pair of sneakers, which are blue and white Nike Shox. And in Naum's first character concept, Naum had the Nike written on the tongue, and I just changed that to make it look more simple. Naum also had a ring and a watch, but to make it look a bit more cartoonish and to make it, again, look more simple, I eliminated these things because it was things that later in life I stopped using. And to tell you the truth, I just think that I really love what now the Moonhog looks like right now, and I love who he has become throughout the years. But yeah, I mean, to answer this question, I guess it's basically the fact that the concept of another Hedgehog fan character was just so ridiculous, so I decided to aim him for something more original. This next question is from Ed Teddy. What would you direct most of your inspiration to? Well, mostly to comedy movies, internet sensations, animators, and a lot of other things. If you actually notice in almost all my videos, I have a parody of a movie or of a fad on the internet. And it's just that I kind of collect the jokes I like the most. And I wouldn't consider my work ripping things off. I consider it parodizing. I consider it redoing it and doing it funny in my own way, you know? Putting my characters into different scenarios in which they can reenact somewhat this concept of comedy, this skit, this joke. I mean, I use anything that I find funny to as an excuse to make it an animation or to make it a piece of art. For example, I usually like drawing just random poses for my characters, but sometimes I like drawing comics. Back in like I don't know 2005 to through 2008, I had this character called Circle Boy. This comic was actually just in Spanish, however. I mean, I never made it in English. He was an all Spanish character, and a lot of my jokes from there were from things I had seen. If you notice in the first LuNaTiCoS shorts, in the skit where Naum and Shadow are talking about Shadow's test results, that's actually not from a video or from a movie. It was actually from a performance of one of a Mexican comedian, and I really liked this joke because he was parodizing Spanish people. And so this guy goes in to get his test results, and They ask for his zodiac sign, he says Cancer, and the joke ends in what a coincidence. The music that I got off at the end of the skit, I found funny because it's like that perfect fade out kind of thing in cartoons, and I got that from Sonic Shorts. I think it was Sonic Shorts 5. But to sum this up, most of my inspiration is just from people that have contributed a lot to what they like doing, which is comedy. And I like all genres of stuff, but my favorite is comedy. I mean, it will always be my favorite because I like making people smile. I love making people laugh. The only part where I don't like making people laugh is where it involves my pain. Unless that pain is intentional. But yeah, that's where I direct most of my inspiration to. The following questions are from username DataLover1701. What inspired you to create LuNaTiCoS Shorts? I was actually hoping I would get this question since it's one of my favorite things to answer, even though until now no one has actually asked me. Back in 2008, I loved watching Sonic animations on YouTube. Since I didn't really have my own internet at home, I would go to a cyber cafe or something where I could get internet. And I would spend my time downloading videos, watching them at my own house on my computer, which didn't have internet at the time. And that wasn't actually in 2008. That was in 2007. 2008 was when I started making my videos. Even though my initial thing wasn't LuNaTiCoS Shorts. I mean, I wasn't aiming for LuNaTiCoS Shorts directly. LuNaTiCoS comes from my last name, as most of you know. My last name is Luna. And I didn't mean to make LuNaTiCoS as in, like, a psychologically damaged person, a lunatic. No, I meant to make this a comedic thing, like I always mean to do. I had written a script where I had ripped off jokes till no end, but my family thought it was hilarious. This was actually going to be a live-action show starring me and my family. It was about a family that lived together in an apartment. My cousin was going to be the mom. My sister and two of my cousins were going to be the children, and I was going to be the crazy uncle that moves in with them, even though the mom disapproves. Three other of my cousins were going to be like the next door neighbors, which were equally stupid as the uncle. And, I mean, the jokes were just great, but I didn't like it because it was too ripped off. Probably 2 or 3 jokes were original, but that's it. And besides, I didn't really like the storyline. Things weren't really, they weren't really solid, and they looked more like skits. So that's when I got into, to animation. How did I do this? When I discovered a little program on my computer called Windows Movie Maker. I still use it because it's so simple. The only reason I use it, though, is to put videos together and to animate sprites when they're talking. Even though my first couple of videos, or better said, my first few videos were just slideshows. I mean, they weren't really, talking. They were just slideshows with music in the background or something. And then, after a while, I got components like Sonic bloopers from Sean's Past 16, Sonic Shorts, which you can find on Newgrounds. I mean, I got all these elements. I mean, the sprite animation combined with Sonic Shorts kind of comedic humor, And I guess I really liked what I did with LuNaTiCoS Shorts because in a certain way, I made it my own. I made it very original. I made it very unique. At least that's what a lot of people tell me. And my main idea of why I made it is because I wanted to have a show of my own that I could do. Question number 2. In my opinion, what is the worst fail in all of LuNaTiCoS productions? I don't think I can remember one of the worst failures in LuNaTiCoS productions. Why? Not because we've had a lot, if not because, on the contrary, they've been few. So few that I can barely remember if there were. I mean, we had the typical fights, and we had our kind of like soap opera dramas and all that. I remember one time my friend Cesar said that LuNaTiCoS productions looked like a drama. It would make a perfect drama, and it's true. I mean, well, back then, because there were a lot of things that, like, I don't like you, or I don't like you either, and, you know, people just started fighting, and then at the end, they would just make up. And everyone would just realize that this wasn't what we were about. I guess another one of the failures in LuNaTiCoS productions, and this time I'm actually basing myself more on LuNaTiCoS shorts, is the fact that the movie that I've been wanting to do ever since 2008 has not been done yet. It's been 3 years and I've not finished it. I mean, it was supposed to be finished last year, and if you look at the movie that is released this year, you'll be very confused because of a lot of jokes that I did there. And, for example, in the beginning, a narrator says the year is 2010, when the date of release was supposed to be 2010, but the actual date of release will be 2011. I guess that is one of the major fails in LuNaTiCoS productions. The fact that a movie that I've been waiting to do for like forever, I have not finished yet due to so many problems here. I mean, first, I've been working on the laptop. Then the processor gets burned because of excess of information on it. So we had to go get it fixed. It was supposed to be fixed in November of last year. It wasn't. We had to wait until February of this year to get it back. I couldn't work on my desktop because Windows Movie Maker keeps shutting down. I can't use another program because my desktop computer doesn't have any space. It's as if the universe does not want me to finish the movie, but I will show the universe that I will finish it, and that fail will turn into a win. I am lying. Question number 3. How does one join LuNaTiCoS shorts? At first I wasn't actually ready to answer this question. Because I'm not really accepting any more petitions to be in LuNaTiCoS shorts. Why? Because we're too many people, so I wouldn't have equality or equation when it comes to putting people in skits. I mean, I'm already having trouble with that, so if I have more people in it, it's going to be, I guess, worse. But when I was recruiting people to be in LuNaTiCoS shorts, what I required was to have a huge interest in comedy, in voice acting, and or animating. Right now, the animation thing isn't really necessary since I'm the one that does it, because it's actually a contrast that I animate what I see in my head, and I sometimes don't like asking other people to animate for me because they're not going to do it the way I want them to. They don't see what's inside my head. So I'd rather animate myself. But it used to be a great requirement to be a huge comedian, love voice acting, and to have a fan character. The fan character part was broken when I made Ed to Eddie's fan character Eugene the Wolf. So you could join even if you didn't have one. And it was broken once again when Squirrelzer and me stopped using his fan character Thundra, the Hedgehog, and started using himself, Cesar. Question number 4 and last question from Data Lover 1701. Will you be making another movie? 2 words to that answer. Hell yes. This is actually the first time I'm speaking about it in public, but I am writing the script to LuNaTiCoS Shorts, the sequel. It will not be called LuNaTiCoS Shorts, the movie 2. I want it to be called LuNaTiCoS Shorts, the sequel. On account of my aforementioned character, Circle Boy, I wrote a little comic book which was supposed to be like one of the biggest in his adventures, and then I wrote like the second part of it, and I didn't call it 2, I called it the sequel. So I remembered that, and I loved the title. Basically, it's going to be something similar to the first one, but hopefully with more action. Naum won't be the main lunatic anymore, because I found that kind of like a preference to the rest of the cast, and I thought in the first movie the characters didn't appear much. Naum the Moonhog was the one that had most lines by himself. I mean, as you know, I do other voices in the movie as well, but Naum the Moonhog was a character that most had lines. He had 260 something, if I remember well, when everyone else, some other characters didn't even make it to 10 lines. Naum had more than 250. So in this movie, what I want to do is focus more on my cast, on my friends, and how they save Naum from the demonics. Because I don't want to give much away as spoilers, but as a storyline for LuNaTiCoS Shorts, the sequel, Evil Darkness and the demonics want to capture Naum this time. And it's the team's job to rescue Naum. Naum won't have much of a part anymore, because the demonics were too simple enough to focus mainly on Naum, on his only weakness, which was to be able to not use his powers, to chaos control from one place to another. They focused more on him, and they didn't even expect the lunatics to arrive to save them. They considered it, but they thought that they wouldn't be much of a harm. And I know this is going to sound very, very stupid, but at the same time that I'm writing the second movie, I'm writing the third one, which is actually called LuNaTiCoS Shorts 3, Do We Really Need Another Movie? Yes, we do. I know, right? I mean, it's just a really long title. But I really like it because, I mean, it shows you how funny it is. This one won't have almost any action at all. It's going to be pure comedy, and it's going to be based on my winter vacations last year, where I went to Puerto Vallarta in Colima, which is one of the most visited beaches in Mexico. And I found it really funny because my whole family fit on one bus, and we were just having a great time. I mean, people were falling asleep. People were taking pictures of people falling asleep. I mean, it was hilarious, and I enjoyed it really much. And that's what I want to do. I want to do the whole. The team goes on a bus to take some vacations. And hopefully the jokes will be very, very original, because I'm getting better at writing it. And at this beach, they meet a lot of internet sensations. how I'm going to accomplish the voice acting for this, I have no absolute idea, but I want to do something for it. It's going to be featuring, obviously, Fred. I mean, not obviously because I like him, if not because he's, like, one of the most subscribed YouTube characters out there. Annoying Orange, Ray William Johnson, and a lot of others. I mean, if you have any suggestions of who could be in it, because I'm not going to be putting a lot of people in, but if you have someone that you consider as a favorite, I will put him in if I can. And probably, I don't know, 3 years from now, I will be in the process of making the movie, which is called LuNaTiCoS and the End of the World. I am not writing a script of it for now. What I am writing is a book. It takes place in the LuNaTiCoS lives way in the future. What I like to do with the cast of LuNaTiCoS shorts is I like to make their own backstory. I mean, they have their original backstory from their creators. But me, as creating Lyric Tab and LuNaTiCoS shorts, I like using my friends' characters and making their backstories. For example, Des the Hybrid. In the LuNaTiCoS universe, in the universe that I created, Des lives on an island of hybrids, which is renamed Des Island when Des saves the island from a menace. I don't know where Desmond Castro's character lives in his character concept, in his story, but in my universe, he lives there. But I'm going out of context, and as you know, yes, I will be making more than just this movie, and more than the ones I have mentioned until now. This question is from Squirrels Are in Me. Stars and moons? Yes. Here's another question from Ed to Eddie. He asks, what are your plans for the future of LuNaTiCoS Productions? The future of LuNaTiCoS Productions. Let me think. Well, I actually want to finish my studies and see if I can somehow open a certain kind of business in video making. I actually really admire internet sensations because they get paid for making videos. I mean, and that's something I want to do, get paid for making videos. In which I'm going to try to make a series which is actually more original than LuNaTiCoS Shorts, where I use Sonic characters. LuNaTiCoS Shorts will still be living on, of course, but the future of LuNaTiCoS Productions is a very bright future. I barely think it will ever end, unless something terrible happens to me. But, no, I mean, if nothing happens to me, God forbid, LuNaTiCoS Productions will never die, and I will continue to make videos no matter how long I take, because I actually like seeing the comments that people leave me saying that they like my material, that my material is good, and all that.